Welcome! We are going to start today in Tadasana, or also known as Samastitihi. Take the cork block and let's place it inside the feet so that the inner ankles are actively pressing into the cork block. So Tadasana is a foundation pose, and we want to look for this pose in all of our standing poses today. And let's squeeze the inner ankles together. Inner ankles together, and feel how the outer buttocks, cheeks draw in. And now press through the outer heels. So that creates the reverse action. Let's try and do those two actions together. Squeeze the inner ankles together, press through the outer heels. Let's lift and extend the toes long. So the toes, as we age, start to curl. So don't just think about spreading the toes wide, think about extending and lengthening those toes. Releasing the toes down, so as we draw the inner ankles together and press through the outer heels, lift the kneecaps and lift the tops of the thighs. Take the fronts of the thighs back, so the inner thighs are drawing back, the outer thighs are drawing back, and the fronts of the thighs are drawing straight back. So it creates that feeling of sticking your buttocks out. But the legs are fully engaged. Let's go from here. Let's inhale and lift through the crease of the armpit chest. So extend the torso up. Let's widen through the collarbone. And now connect the outer collarbone with the very back of that shoulder blade. Squeeze your inner shoulder blades together. And let's engage the outer biceps now. So point your fingers, squeeze those outer biceps and take them back. Very nice. Let's take the strap now over the left shoulder. We are going to do Gomukhasana arms. This is an excellent option for somebody that's got a frozen shoulder. So let's take the right arm forward, and we're going to internally rotate that right forearm, draw the arm in, and take that elbow behind, bending the elbow. The palm is flat and open. The crease of this right shoulder is rolling in, so we want to externally rotate that shoulder using the breath. So that's inhale, lifting through the crease of that right armpit. Let's take that right shoulder back. Keep the right palm open and flat. Let's reach the left arm forward. Externally open that left palm. Let's draw the shoulder into the socket. And let's take the left arm up and bend that left elbow. So we can potentially grab the straps and walk the hands together. But let's just focus here on using the breath and resist taking your hips forward. So the thighs are back. We're squeezing the inner ankles together as we press through the outer heels. And we let the breath create that space for us inside the body. Let that breath release the shoulders. Very nice. Let's slowly release. And let's take the strap over to the right shoulder. So this is definitely my nemesis pose. Let's reach the left arm forward. And let's internally rotate that left arm, draw it into the socket, and take the arm back behind. The left palm is open, just do your best. Again, lift through the crease of that left armpit chest to externally rotate that shoulder back. And let's reach the right arm forward. And let's open the palm. Externally rotate that upper forearm. Draw the right shoulder into the socket. Let's take the right arm up and bend the elbow. Taking the hands to the strap. Let's walk the hands together. And let's again use the breath to create that space for you inside the body. Resist taking your hips forward so the thighs are back. The inner ankles are tight and we're pressing actively through the heels. Kneecaps and thighs lift. Let the breath travel freely through the body. Very nice. Slowly release. And let's just move the strap off to the side for a moment. So if you need your blocks, just have them nearby. Open the heels and take our feet roughly hip width apart. And as we fold forward, hinging from the crease of the hip, if you cannot, take your hands to the floor and bring your hips over your knees and ankles, stacking the joints, aligning the joints. Then take your blocks. Walk the hands slightly forward so those hips are nicely stacked above the knees. Lifting the knees and the upper thighs. Squeeze the inner ankles together and press actively through the outer heels. So we're fully engaging the lower half of the body. The legs are working 100%. And the upper body is concave. So there's an extension in the spine. We're using the back muscles to stretch and lengthen that spine. And the work is coming from the lower half. So we slowly hinge forward here. And again, focus on squeezing your inner ankles together. Press through your outer heels. So this creates two actions within the legs. Breathing to feel that space come inside the body. So that space is coming from the hinge in the hips. Very nice. Slowly bend the knees. Take our middle and index finger around the big toes. Widen the collarbone as we bend those knees. The sternum, the chest is reaching forward. And again, we're focusing on squeezing the inner ankles together and at the same time pressing through the outer heels. Widening the collarbone, connecting that collarbone the best you can with the back of that shoulder blade and squeezing those inner shoulder blades together. Very nice. Release. And we're going to drop the knees and press through the backs of those toes to create a stretch in the backs of the feet as we release the knees down. Just take a moment and tuck the baby toes in and under. Draw the outer ankles in. The feet are apart and we're drawing the outer ankles in. Pressing through the toes. We have more small muscles and bones in the hands and feet. This is where age begins. And taking time to open your feet helps to open your hips. Just a few more moments. Good. And then let's come forward, releasing the toes. Let's sit inside the heels. So take your thumb to the inner ankle, lengthening the instep of the inner ankle. Let's take the outer four fingers and press those fingers actively into the outer ankles. So we're lengthening the inner ankles with the thumb, sitting closer and closer to the ground, pressing the outer ankles in. So the outer ankles draw in, and we're stretching through the tops of the feet, pressing through the tops of the ankles. Very nice. Slowly release. And let's take a blanket and just place it lengthwise on your mat. And we're going to come onto the blanket. Press now through your shins. Press through your shins, press through the tops of the ankles, press through your feet. Gently pressing down through the shins, feeling the outer buttocks, cheeks draw in. Step the right heel out to the right. So Paryangasana. Reach that right arm down. So the right hip releases down to the inner left thigh, and then the work is to turn the torso towards the ceiling. So that's inhale, lift the chest up, and then turn the torso towards the ceiling as you take your head and torso back. Releasing the right hip, the right thigh is rolling out. The right shoulder is drawing down and into its socket, and we're turning the torso towards the ceiling without releasing that right hip. Very nice. Let's slowly come up and just step your right foot in. Oop. And let's take the left heel out to the side. Release that left hip down, and let's take the left hand inside that left leg. So that left shoulder is rolling out and down into its socket, and we're working toward turning the torso towards the ceiling, just as in Konasana. So the tail releases down and in. The left hip drops down towards the inner right thigh, and we slowly make our way down, keeping that torso turning forward. Let's slowly come up. That's great. Take that second blanket on top of the first. And we're going to take a seated twist. So let's come and sit cross-legged. Make sure you have some height. 2 blankets should be enough. And let's bring the block behind. Let's take the left hand to the outer right thigh. And the work here is to draw that left shoulder blade down and in, so we can start to work towards squeezing the inner shoulder blades together as we take that right hand behind us. So that's inhale and lift the chest, bend your elbows, squeeze your inner shoulder blades together. So tuck your shoulder blades in, and as we turn to the right, let's squeeze those elbows together. Inhale, back ribs in and up. Exhale, twist. Elbows come together. Shoulder blades are tucking in together. Let your breath create that space for you. So soften the body and receive that next inhale. Let's look forward and slowly release. Let's take the right hand to the left thigh. Take your left hand behind. Bend your elbows. That's inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together as you twist to the left. So lifting the sternum, keep that spine in extension. Squeeze your elbows together. Tuck your shoulder blades in. Breathe deeply, lift the back ribs into the body, and then up. Let's look forward, and let's slowly release. Just do the hula. So go from side to side, turning to release any area in the body that might catch, and just getting those side transverse muscles moving. Good. So we are going to take Baddha Konasana. Typically, we need some height. So Most of us will need at least a block, if not a block and a blanket. And you notice I'm going to place a little bit extra blanket in the front. So when we come and take the feet together into Baddha Konasana, you want to look to see that the head of the femur bone and the knee are in line. If the knees are way high, you need to sit higher. If your knees are super high, you need to sit higher and maybe come towards the wall. Now let's take the prop, the strap. This strap is going overhead around the waist. Take the strap around the outsides of the feet. And in the back, let's take the strap underneath the hip line. Let's tighten that strap and just gently lean forward. Make sure your strap is not on any area of the skin. Excellent. Excellent. And now we can see that that knee is nicely in line with the hip. And this helps to really support through the back, so our lower back is concave, and we can lift through the crease of the armpit chest, lift through the sternum and the back body, collarbone wide, and let's start to press actively through the outsides of the feet. Spread the toes wide. Good. So the thighs are rolling out, and hopefully over time the knees are dropping down towards the floor. So we can linger here as long as you like. The benefit of the strap is that it will keep the heels together. If when you look at your heels, you find that one heel is way forward or way higher, that higher heel is your more open hip. So you want to align the heels nicely. You don't want to progress with one heel way forward and one heel back, because you are reinforcing the imbalance, and you want to start to take that imbalance away from the body and open your hips in a sense of unison. So never leave the weaker side behind. So as I mentioned, feel free to linger here. This is one of those primary poses. Go home, practice it at night, stay as long as you like. Just don't sleep in the pose. To release, just take your belt buckle and just slide that bar away. And let's take the strap off. Very nice. And let's lift the knees and just remove your blankets for now, and we'll just slide the blankets off to the side. Adho Mukha Shavasana with the head supported. So downward dog. Let's start here, and you may have to tinker a little bit with your block to see where your head is going to require support. But the benefit is that we can start to focus on the hands and the upper body in this pose. So spread your hands as wide as you can. Wide, wide, wide. And then let's roll the creases of the inner elbows forward. So the shoulders are down, and as you press actively through the index and thumb, shoulders draw down away from the ears and in. We can roll the creases of those inner elbows forward. So the shoulders are now firmly down away from the ears. This is where we want to keep those shoulders. Let's tuck the toes in and under, and leading with the hips, let's take the head to the block. So take a moment and look at your hands. Look at the creases of your inner elbows. Press actively through the index and thumb. And let's roll the creases of those inner elbows forward. Keep those shoulders down away from the ears. And let's lift the kneecaps, lift the thighs, press the outer heels down as you draw your inner ankles together. Lift your hips, lift your ribs. And now we have the opportunity to linger and start to create some unity, some union in the pose. This is the yoga, that uniting of all things, coming together as one. Let's walk the hands in towards the feet. Take the hands to the hips as we slowly come up. Good job. Take the block, and we are going to place it in the center of the mat. We're working on Utthita Trikonasana, but before we start, let's take that right hand and just place it to the wall, standing at 90 degrees. Let's drop that right shoulder down, and as we roll that right forearm externally out, the bottom of the forearm is going to roll in. There's two actions that take place here. So let's drop the shoulder down, 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 and you can start to see the crease of this inner elbow is rolling up. Very nice. Let's turn that hand to the side. So turn that hand 90 degrees, and again, focus on dropping that right shoulder down away from the ear. The crease of that inner elbow is rolling up. So there's another hand placement. You can take the position of the hand in, and this will prevent you from using your elbow to drop the shoulder down. So do your best to drop the shoulder down, rolling the crease of the inner elbow up. Very nice. Let's release, and let's do the second side. So take your left hand to the wall, standing at 90 degrees. Let's drop the left shoulder down, press that hand to the wall, spread the hands wide. So the fingers are actively pressing into the wall. That left shoulder is rolling out and down. The crease of that left forearm is externally rotating up, and the bottom of the forearm is rolling inwards. This is an excellent movement for anybody suffering from shoulder issues, aka frozen shoulder. Turn the palm out 90 degrees, and again, working toward rolling the crease of that inner left elbow up, rolling that left forearm out and down. Let your breath create that space. And again, another arm position that will actively prevent you from using your elbow to roll that shoulder out is to turn that hand inwards. So we're much less able to use the elbow to externally rotate that shoulder. We really have to work very hard to roll that shoulder out and down. Great. So now that we've got some loose shoulders, let's come and just stand centered to the mat. We can either step the feet out or jump. I'm not a jumper. Let's take the hands to the hips and pivot the left foot in to the right, and let's pivot the right foot in 90 degrees. Take as wide a stance as you can. So the work here today is to start to press through that big right toe and that right heel. Press through the ball of that right foot. And what that does is this starts to help lift that kneecap and thigh and draw that right hip in and under. We typically have the hips sticking slightly out and the knee rolls in. And you can see the torso is forward. We actually want the reverse. We want the hips and pelvis forward, torso and head back. Let's take the right hand to the wall and press that right hand to the wall, dropping the right shoulder down again. Feel the length through that right side. Press through the ball of that right foot, lifting that right kneecap, stretching that right thigh, feeling the right hip draw in and under. So do not progress unless you can maintain a healthy knee and hip position. This is the work in the pose. Let's press actively through the left heel. Thighs roll out. Tailbone releases down and in. Take that right hand now to the leg and roll the crease of that right elbow forward as you press down through that right arm. Inhale and lift the chest up. Exhale, take that chest and head back. So pressing actively through the outer left heel and the ball of that right foot, the thighs roll out, and we are working to keep that right thigh rolling this way. The torso is moving in the opposite direction. So that's what we're working on. We're working to turn the pelvis while maintaining the action of lifting the kneecap, lifting the upper thigh, and keeping that right hip from popping out. To come out, let's press through that left heel, slowly come up. Pivot the right foot forward, and we can either jump or heel toe. Take the second side now. So standing in the center of the mat, step the feet out to the side. Let's pivot the left foot and bring the left foot onto the block. That right foot is turning in slightly to the left. Pressing actively through that outer right heel. Press actively through the ball of that left foot. So watch how, as I activate this leg, the left thigh lifts up, the kneecap lifts up, the left hip draws in and under. So we continue that action of the legs. Bring that left arm to the wall. So press that left hand into the wall, actively dropping that left shoulder down without losing the position of the legs. Let's take the right hand to the hip. And as you inhale, lift your chest up and then take your chest and head back. So just do your best. Releasing your left hand down to the leg. Let's drop that left shoulder down, rolling the crease of that left elbow forward. And of course, if you felt the desire, feel free to reach your right arm up. But today, the focus is to maintain the lower half of the body and then turn the torso towards the ceiling. Pressing through the back right heel, let's slowly come up. Pivot the left foot forward, heel toe, heel toe. Baddha Konasana. This time, take the ball of the foot and the heel on top of the block. So the ball of the foot comes to the wall, the right heel is on the block. Heel toe that left foot as far away from the right as you can. And this time, there is a heel-to-heel alignment. So Utthita Konasana, heel-to-heel alignment, press through the outsides of the feet. So again, the thighs are rolling out, that tailbone releases down and in. Start to take a look at what that right knee and hip are doing. So as you bend your right knee, feel how the right hip draws in and under. Just do this a few times to get that sense of keeping that right hip from popping out and the torso from coming forward. So the pelvis comes forward. Just take your right forearm to the right thigh to begin with. Roll that right shoulder down and in, pressing actively through that outer left foot. Very nice. Slowly come up, pivot that left foot forward, change sides. So again, we take that left foot on top of the block and just step your right foot as far away from the left as you can. We are working toward taking this left leg to 90 degrees. The right toes are turning just slightly into the left as the left toes are 90 degrees. And let's press through that left heel and the ball of that left foot as we bend that left knee to start to get a sense of how that left hip draws in and under as we actively press through the heel and the ball of the foot. Let's do this a few times. So just bend the knee, and we feel how the thighs are actively rolling out. The weight is in the outsides of the feet, and that hip is drawing in and under. Let's take the left forearm down to the thigh, roll that left shoulder down. And of course, if you would like to take the hand up and over, feel free. But the focus is to start to feel how the muscles around the hips and knees engage to keep those joints safe. Let's press actively through the back right heel to slowly come up, because the right leg is the director. That back leg is the director of this pose. Heel toe the foot out. And one more time, let's come to the other side. Again, placing that right foot onto the block. Let's take that left foot as far away as you can. Pressing actively through that outer left foot. Pressing actively through the ball of that right foot and the heel that's bend that right knee. This time, let's take that right arm in front, rolling that right thigh out and rolling the right shoulder out and down. Let's reach that left arm up towards the wall. Just do your best. And you can see how this helps to start to turn that torso to the side. I'd prefer to do this demonstration on the other side. As I mentioned, I have a shoulder issue, but the universe does not stop for issues, and we must continue to proceed. So just do your best. Again, I'm coming over onto the other side now. This leg is the active director. And as I bend that left knee, pressing actively through the foot, that hip is nicely in and under. Let's take the left arm in front just to roll that left shoulder down and out, roll that left thigh down and out, and then let's take the right hand up and turn the torso. As you inhale, lift the chest up. Exhale, chest and head back as you turn the torso towards the ceiling. So Baddha Konasana is an excellent movement to engage the back muscles and stretch the spine. Very nice. Let's slowly come out. Pivoting that right foot forward. So we never actively want to step out of these poses. We might hurt our hip. Take this pose to its full glory now. We are going to take the block and just have that block so we can actively press through the outside of that right foot. And again, it's better always to stand center, stepping your feet wide. Let's take that right foot to the block, pivot the left foot forward. So we press actively through that right heel, and we press actively through the left heel, drawing that left hip in and under, pressing through the big toe knuckle and that second toe, so the thighs are feeling like they're rolling out. The weight is in the outsides of the feet. Let's place the block to the outside of that left foot, nice and close. And as you press actively through that right heel, let's walk that left foot forward so we can get this left leg at 90 degrees. So pressing through that left heel, pressing through the ball of that left foot to keep that left hip in and under. Let's reach that left arm as far forward as we can. Reach, reach, reach. Pressing through that left heel. Let's take the left hand to the block, and now pressing through that left hand. Pressing through that left heel. So continuing to press through the heel, press through the left hand. Let's take the right hand up and over. Feel the stretch that comes through the back muscles, lengthening and stretching the spine. Actively pressing through the outer feet. Very nice. We start to feel how the muscles around the hips, around the knees start to engage. Let's slowly start to come out. Pivoting the left foot forward. That's either heel toe or jump. Great. second side. Let's stand center and just step your feet out nice and wide. So we need a wider stance, pressing actively through that left foot. Let's pivot the right foot forward, bending that right knee. So just do your best. Let's place the block to the outside of that right ankle, nice and close, because the two are joining. Bend that right knee and take that leg as best you can to 90 degrees. Good. Pressing through the back left heel. Let's reach that right arm forward. Press through the right heel to keep that right hip in. Right hand to the block. Drop the right shoulder down away from the ear. Roll the crease of that inner elbow forward. So continuing to press your right hand into the block. Continuing to press your right heel to the floor. Let's inhale, lift the chest up, and head back. So we're turning the torso towards the ceiling without letting that right hip pop out. Just do your best. And if you'd like to take your left arm all the way over, feel free. Pressing through the back left leg to slowly come out. Let's pivot that right foot forward. And now let's take our hands to the floor one more time. Take a wide-legged forward fold. So keeping your shoulders right above your wrists. Let's think about lifting the kneecaps. And now spread through the backs of those thighs. So the inner thighs right at the head of the femur bone are rolling in. But then as we press through the outer feet, we feel the thighs roll out. So there's two actions here. And if you like, you can start to fold forward, walking your hands in just for a moment. Let's take our hands to our hips and slowly come up. Heel toe. Very nice. Take an upper forearm stretch. This is another great stretch for frozen shoulder. Take the hands, interlace your hands, but have your wrists wide, and then press actively through your forearms. So keep your wrists wide, press actively through the forearms, and those forearms are helping the shoulders draw out and down, out and down. So feel that action, and then walk your feet away and drop your chest. So feel those shoulders drawing out and down as you actively make your wrists heavy, make your forearms heavy. So this is a bit of a precursor stretch for Shirshasana, headstand. We're not going to do the full pose today. We are going to start to work toward opening the body in preparation for the pose. Let's slowly start to come back up. And let's just move the block off to the side. And again, we're going to take the hands and interlace the palms, wrists are wide, and we're coming down to the floor now. Bring the hands to the wall. Again, wrists are wide, and actively press through your forearms, drawing those shoulders out and down. Let's tuck the toes in and under, and leading with the hips. Let's lift the hips and walk the feet in towards the wall. So lift your kneecaps, press your forearms, so the head is off the ground. And if you can, see if you can lift just one leg. Keep that right hip down. So the hips are square. We're not opening the hip. Just in preparation. Because if we were to kick up to the wall, we would bend that knee and just lift up. Let's release that leg down and let's change sides. Lift the left leg this time. So the right heel down, left leg up. And then of course, if we were going to kick the legs, we would bend that right knee. Releasing down. Let's drop the knees down now. Very nice. And we're going to take our happy foam block, so it must be a light foam block, and this is again preparation for Shirshasana. The head will be off the floor, so this is a risk-free inversion. Take your elbows slightly in, and with your hands just gently place that foam block behind the neck, releasing your hands down. Let's tuck the toes in and under, and just lift the hips, walking the feet in towards. So this is the precursor for Shirshasana. And we're working toward getting those hips nice and high. Without any risk to the neck. You'll be absolutely amazed at how wonderful this feels. It's a very liberating feeling. The head is lower than the heart. We are reducing disease in the brain, inversions, reduce plaque and glutamine in the brain on an MRI. But the ticket is to make the inversion a risk-free one until the body is safe and ready. Very nice. So the beauty of just dropping the knees down is we don't have to catch the block. We can just let the block fall. And then let's just come into a child's pose just for a moment. So take your hands to your ankles and just release your head. Slowly come up. And now we're going to prepare for another inversion. So we're going to take a bolster, placing it lengthwise on your mat. We are preparing for Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. I like to have a blanket folded, placed again on top of the bolster, and then because they do suggest that having the head laying flat on the floor without any support does increase blood pressure, so it's always nice to have a little bit of cushioning for the back of the head. Let's take a block and just place it against the wall, and we are going to take our strap and just take it around the upper thighs. So tightly bound the upper legs together. This creates a lot of support for Setu Bandha. And then the next step is to get those shoulders on the ground. So don't let the shoulders hang. So as you can see, my shoulders are not really on the ground. It's a great opener for the upper thoracic spine. But again, get those shoulders down. And tuck those shoulder blades in and under, and then let's extend the legs to the wall. And if you're lucky enough, you can press your heels actively into the wall. Press your heels down. Press the backs of the thighs down. And you can see there's a great lift in this crease of the armpit chest. Lower ribs are drawing towards the hips. Sits bones are drawing towards the heels. So of course, if you were able to, you could bring your hands and arms into the cactus position if that suited you. So let's start to come out of this pose now by gently just pressing, pushing yourself away. And let's bend the knees and just remove the strap here. Just moving your strap off to the side. Let's prepare now for our final pose, Shavasana. Bring a blanket for the back of the head, and let's have the bolster so that it is on top of the thighs. And just again, take a moment to tuck the shoulder blades in and under. Have your feet just slightly apart, and then close the eyes. And just let the body start to surrender here. Let's focus on the third eye. The third eye is in the center of the forehead. Close the eyes and just allow the two halves of the forehead to fall away from each other. So allow that left side of the forehead to fall down and over to the left. Allow the right side to fall down and over to the right. Softening now through the innermost corner of the ears. This is where tension begins in the body. So revisit that moment and just soften the innermost corner of your ears. Just allow the mind now to be still with the body. Feel free to linger as long as you like.